Dorit Kemsley has a few choice words as her divorce from Paul P.K. Kemsley continues to make headlines. Rumors have swirled since the estranged couple from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was spotted in August at a friendly dinner in LA, according to TMZ, leading to speculation that things were back on. But as the Beverly Beach designer recently told the outlet, things between her and the British talent manager are up and down and left to right. And as far as Dorit is concerned, she's just trying to find her bearings as their separation continues. Her statements come just weeks after the parents of Phoenix and Jagger Kemsley were spotted by photographers leaving a Japanese restaurant in Les Sherman Oaks, according to Page 6. Tim has reported it was their first reunion since Dorit officially filed for divorce after 10 years of marriage. Dorit Kemsley and PK both attended Alexia Umansky's wedding. Over the weekend, the separated couple showed up at Alexia Umansky and Jake Zingerman's spectacular wedding in LA. Whether they arrived together as Kyle Richards and PK's BFF, Mauricio Umansky gave their daughter away at the lavish ceremony remains unclear. There was a question over who from the rhobh cast would attend the star-studded affair, and Kyle was a steel trap up until the special day. Ultimately, several wives were spotted at the event, including Alexia's aunt, Kathy Hilton, Erica Jane, Lisa Rinna, and Teddy Mellencamp. Dorit and Sutton Strack were also there, but just missed the photo, Kyle explained in the comment section of her IG photos. She confirmed it was hard to find everyone at the same time, but she was there. PK shared a selfie of himself and captioned Wedding Day, tagging Mauricio too. Where Dorit Kemsley and Kyle Richards stand today. Although Dorit was special enough to get an invite to Alexia's wedding, her and Kyle's relationship continues to see many highs and lows. The OG housewife, however, gave an update on their friendship on a September 2 Amazon livestream, calling it a work in progress. Continued Kyle, "Have things been easy? There's some rough patches here and there, you know? Are Mauricio Umansky and PK still friends? Things between PK and Mauricio are sturdier than ever." Recently, as part of their much-talked-about bromance, the men joined music legend and rhobh guest Boy George and Clark Datchler, frontmen for the British pop band Johnny Hates Jazz, to celebrate PK's 58th birthday in London. PK touched on his bond with Mauricio, who continues to navigate his separation from Kyle after 27 years of marriage, earlier this year, and how their respective separations played a role. As PK told Us Weekly, "We were friends anyway. It wasn't about the fact that we're both separated. We were close anyway. The fact that we're going through this together is obviously helpful for us. You know, we can share because not everybody understands it, and it's a little bit difficult when it's played out so publicly." Don't miss the latest about PK and Dorit as their separation continues, including how PK feels about lasting love. Under the golden haze of a Los Angeles sunset, Dorit Kemsley stood on the balcony of her temporary home on Mulholland Drive. Not quite her house, not quite a rental, more like a liminal space suspended between two chapters. The air was warm and scented faintly with bougainvillea, but her thoughts were cold, scattered like the half-packed boxes inside. It had been 3 months since she filed for divorce. 10 years. 10 years of whirlwind travel, lavish dinner parties, glittering gowns, and growing children. 10 years with PK, Paul Kemsley, her husband, best friend, and occasional stranger. Now, it felt like their love was a vintage channel, once iconic, now tucked away in a closet, unsure if it still fit. But in Beverly Hills, nothing truly ends, it just morphs. That's why, when Dorit found herself seated across from PK at a dimly lit sushi bar in Sherman Oaks last month, it wasn't surprising. Tim's had caught them exiting, laughing too loudly, the flashbulbs capturing a moment that was both real and not real. Friendly, familiar, but unfinished. "I don't even know what we are," Dorit confessed to her best friend Sutton over cucumber martinis. "We're up and down, left and right. We're lost at sea." Sutton, wearing a bold red lip and not an ounce of patience, raised an eyebrow. "Darling, you're either on the boat or in the water. Pick one." But life wasn't so binary, especially not in Beverly Hills. The wedding of Alexia Umansky was the event of the season, a dreamscape of roses, chandeliers, and champagne towers. The daughter of Mauricio Umansky, Kyle Richards' husband, was a second daughter to the rhobh circle. Dorit had RSVP'd with hesitation, her name scrawled solo on the invitation. PK, of course, was already on the guest list. A fixture in Mauricio's world and part of their tight-knit tequila-fueled bromance. Dorit considered backing out, but something drew her in. Maybe it was the chance to dress up, to remember who she was before the breakdown. Or maybe it was curiosity. Would he be there? Would they dance? Would they talk? In the end, they didn't arrive together, but they left differently. PK had shared a selfie on Instagram, casually captioned "Wedding Day," tagging Mauricio, flashing his signature smirk. Dorit saw it while sipping champagne at her table, her phone tucked discreetly under the chiffon layers of her dress. She smiled, a little annoyed, a little nostalgic. They hadn't posed for any photos together, at least none that made it online, but they'd exchanged glances across the dance floor. Not romantic ones, not anymore, but something like understanding. Back on Mulholland Drive, Dorit sat in the silk robe she used to wear on Sundays when PK would make her espresso just the way she liked. Cinnamon on the foam, just a touch of oat milk. She hadn't touched the espresso machine in months. Now, she sipped cold brew from Erewhon and stared at a half-written journal entry. What if love doesn't end? It just changes shape. The words haunted her, floating across the page like smoke. The doorbell rang. It wasn't PK. It was Erica Jane, wrapped in leather and sunglasses too large for nightfall. "You look like a sad Italian film," she said, breezing in. "Put on some heels. We're going out." Dorit sighed, "I'm not really in the mood." "Too bad." Erica tossed her a metallic mini dress. "This isn't about mood. It's about reclaiming your narrative." They ended up at a rooftop bar in West Hollywood, under violet lights and soft house music. Celebrities mingled with influencers. Erica leaned in, her voice low. "You know," she said, "PK still talks about you like you're a Picasso he let slip through his fingers." Dorit stared at her drink. "That's funny. He used to call me his modern masterpiece." Erica shrugged. "Then go be one, alone or otherwise." A week later, Dorit found herself walking through a park in London with PK. Not because they planned it, but because of Boy George. It was PK's birthday, and George insisted on gathering the old crew. Clark Datchler, from Johnny Hates Jazz, even flew in. The evening was all laughter, nostalgia, and strangely healing. "You know," PK said, breaking away from the group, "we were never good at being just nothing." Dorit looked at him. "No, we were always something, even if it wasn't always good." They walked in silence for a while. PK finally said, "Do you think love can survive without marriage?" Dorit didn't answer. She just took his hand, not romantically, just as someone who knew his story better than anyone else ever could. Weeks passed. The headlines didn't stop. Every dinner, every sighting, every vague Instagram story was dissected by fans, by gossip blogs, by people who thought they knew their truth. But Dorit was discovering something new. Her truth wasn't a headline. It was a whisper in the quiet moments, a shimmer on the surface of her reinvented life. She moved into a new home in the hills. Not quite as grand, but it had a lemon tree in the backyard and a kitchen she planned to actually cook in. Phoenix and Jagger helped her pick paint colors. They laughed when she burned the first attempt at pancakes. It was messy, but it was hers. At the reunion taping for rhobh, Andy Cohen asked the inevitable question, Dorit, where do things stand with you and PK? She paused, looked into the camera, smiled. We're still figuring it out, she said. And maybe that's okay. Maybe some love stories don't have an ending. They just keep evolving. The other women nodded, some in understanding, some in surprise. But Dorit didn't need their approval anymore. Not in the same way. She had found something better than certainty. She'd found herself. As the cameras wrapped and the stage lights dimmed, Dorit walked outside into the cool LA evening. She checked her phone. A text from PK. Phoenix says you forgot her ballet shoes. Dropping them off in the morning. She replied with a heart emoji, then paused, and added, espresso too. After a moment, only if you promise not to burn the toast this time. She smiled. The house on Mulholland was behind her now. But the story? Still beautifully unfinished. The soft rebrand. 6 months later, Dorit Kemsley had rebranded. Not with a press release, not with a headline, but with silence. Unapologetic, calculated silence. The rhobh drama had faded into background noise. Her Instagram was now a clean grid of high fashion, slow sunsets, and cryptic quotes. Rebirth doesn't ask for permission. Sometimes peace looks like letting go before they do. A soft life is a strong choice. There were no pictures of PK,